happens.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not always, you know, perfectly put together when you get to the reading. It's
Gotcha.
not. Yeah.
And you did good too.
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. You
yeah,
did great.
yeah,
You
you
did.
did good. And it was like holistically a good, just, it was just like a wonderful
There was so much
experience.
chemistry between the entire cast. It was so beautiful.
Because I heard
Everyone.
that sets aren't always like that.
No, sometimes it's like everyone's just kind of isolated and they're put in their own little corners and they don't communicate with anyone until they have to just be in the scene together.
Wow.
And this was like instant family.
Instant.
Like we didn't even know each other and we just all clicked.
Instant.
Yeah, it
And
really
we
was.
stayed in touch on social media and
Yes,
everything. We just
I
like,
talk to everyone all the time.
that's amazing. I want to
Yeah,
cry.
I know, I know.
I love you guys. But so I wanted to have you on the show, and we send out pre-interview questionnaires because I take time to review and before the guests come, and a lot of people don't usually like answer the questions in depth, and you like had some answers.
Yes.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start currently with where you are, what you do, and who you are,
Yes.
and then we're gonna kind of go back and then come back up forward.
Yes.
Okay. So tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Well, I am an actress for film and television. I do theater as well, but I primarily focus on film and TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a New Yorker, local New Yorker,
Yeah.
and
Ooh.
New York girl.
Mhm.
And I've been in Manhattan now for 8 years.
Okay.
And yeah, just going through the routines of what an actor's life is, the audition life, the education, the ups, the downs. It's real, and now it's more just a wonderful transition to see how much I'm working now, which is so beautiful.
Okay.
And been able to really focus on my craft, which is more than I could ever ask for.
Wow. Wow. And I hear, listen, I've only been on one set, but I hear that, the life of an actor can really be challenging and stressful, and it really tests your resolve.
Yes, it does. You know, there's so much to being an actor on set, and everyone around you has a point of view on how they think you should look, how they think you should sound, how they think you should be.
Gotcha.
And really kind of sticking to who you are and learning how to embrace that instead of trying to fit a mold.
Mm.
Because that, I think, is sometimes we all get caught up in from time to time, where it's
Okay.
like, oh no, that's what works. You have to be like this person. And it's like, no, you don't have to be like that if that's not true and authentic to you.
Mm.
You can just be yourself and let that rock, because there is nobody else on this earth that's like you.
Right.
And that's what you should focus on, really.
Right. And that's so difficult nowadays because social media, and we come from a society that celebrates superstars.
100%.
And so, not to take anything away from superstars, I know some, there was superstars from my area. I'm from Jamaica, Queens, so a lot of the biggest rappers come from the area, people we grew up around seeing. I don't want to take anything away from
No.
what they did to get there,
Yes.
right? But I know people who aren't rich, who aren't wealthy, that have overcome and survived obstacles that make them heroes just as bit much, or even if not more, than the so-called superstars, right? And that's why I started the show, because I wanted to tell the story of the regular, everyday hero, like Brittney Mulvaney,
Oh.
right? So, in the caterpillar phase, we talk about, and I send over the questionnaire, we talk about, my theme of the show is from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And as I began to read, and you talked about, your sickness, tell the audience about what you have and how
Yes.
you live with it.
Well, my constant obstacle in life is my health.
Okay.
And I was diagnosed with a very common autoimmune disease called endometriosis. I don't know if you're familiar with endometriosis.
I had never heard of it until
Okay.
you said it.
Okay, so, well, 1 in 10 women are diagnosed with endometriosis.
Wow.
And to simply explain it to people that might not know it as well, it's an estrogen-based condition. So I produce too much estrogen because I'm just such a woman. and you know, I'm just a lot of a woman.
Gotcha.
And, you know, so, you know, I just, that was my challenge.
Right, right.
Well, what ends up happening from having this condition is the endometrium, it's the lining inside your uterus. Mine grows on the outside as well as the inside. So what ends up happening with that extra tissue that's not able to escape my body, these lesions grow and they spread and they attach to organs, and it causes serious, significant pain and nausea, and it's just absolutely debilitating.
So before you got the diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
were you kind of like wondering what was wrong with you, and how was it affecting your life at that time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we're talking about years of not being diagnosed, years of collapsing, passing out, getting rushed to the ER, and getting all of these tests done
When you
over.
say years, like how many years?
Well, I mean, it was probably 2 years of consistent, really bad health. Like where I was
Wow.
just, yeah, it was really, really excruciating.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, you had doctors that were either believed that I was in pain or doctors that thought that I just wanted painkillers, which it's like, it's
Wow.
wild. It's wild because the problem with this condition is that it's so hard to be diagnosed. There's no blood test. There's no MRI.
But if 1 out of every 10 women suffer from it, why is it so hard?
Because it's women's health. I don't know. It's sad. It's you know, the only way of actually diagnosing this condition is from an invasive laparoscopic procedure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not something that's just gonna come up on just regular checks and tests.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Because like even if you go in for an MRI, the lesions don't show. An ultrasound, the lesions don't show. You can't see it visibly unless you're going in surgically. And you have to know what you're looking for. You have to be with the right type of surgeon. There's so much I've learned about this condition.
So were you kind of okay? So you're suffering from this. You say you have bouts where you passed out,
Yes.
and it's affecting your health. So obviously it's affecting your social life. Your
Oh yeah, you can't plan anything. It was like you get scared as a person that doesn't know what's wrong. Before I had a name to the pain, it was very difficult. And you know, you just kind of felt like I can't make plans with anybody. How can I? You
because you
know?
don't know how you're gonna feel.
Yeah. What happens if I have an episode and you know, I'm embarrassed, you know, you hate to say that you get embarrassed about your health, but to an extent it feels like you're a burden, and that it is a little embarrassing. And it was, you know, like I would avoid or cancel and not show up to places because I was like, I don't want to get sick in front of anybody.
And how did that affect your self-esteem and your self-worth?
Oh, it was really depressing. Well, I think it was one of the darkest moments of my life. I mean, there were moments where the pain was so extreme, you can't walk. You can't stand, you can't do anything. And it's, you know, and even after getting the diagnosis, you know, unfortunately, because treatment is just, the protocol for treatment is just so minuscule for what you can actually do. So it's like, you know, you could either take painkillers or get a surgery or go on a birth control pill, and that's supposed to help alleviate your symptoms.
Mm.
But unfortunately, every woman, they process these things differently. Not everybody's body responds the same way or the
Okay.
way that they'd like them to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
it was really, really difficult.
So then you get your diagnosis. So now it's like, okay, there's some hope there.
Oh my God, the first thing I asked when I woke up from surgery was, did you find it? I was like so relieved, and it was so validating to hear, like, no, something really was wrong.
Right, and I've been saying this all
Yeah.
of this time.
Yeah. It was
And
really
so that
crazy.
was kind of the beginning of your liberation.
Yes.
Out of wow.
Yeah, and it took me, because it's been 6 years since I've had a diagnosis, and I've had 2 surgeries since my diagnosis,
Okay.
and I've had to learn what worked best for my body, how to I like holistic medicine,
Okay.
and that worked best for me.
Okay.
So for me personally, it was really just a matter of a strict diet change, and really learning how to listen to my body and fuel my body in a way that helped me get my life back.
Okay. So
Yeah.
your approach to diet and what you were going to put in you
Yes.
was very important.
It's an anti-inflammatory diet.
Gotcha.
So yes.
My son is on that.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my son. Listen, my son, the birds are creating a nest in the gutter in the front of my house, and my son's like, so me and the guy across the street, the guy Willie's like, yeah, Malik, I'll help you get him out. Sure, you're just gonna have to help me carry the ladder. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna get him out later. Those birds gotta go. And so then they're actually like mating, like they mated like 14 times in a row. The male hopped on top of the female, and then mating, and after he finished, she went and flew off. And I was like, yeah, you slut, now you're going off the... And they're looking at me like, you're really yelling at the birds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're going off into the other tree to go to sleep after you finish. And I'm like, yeah, that's why y'all are going to go to. I'm talking to him. And he's like, all of the trees are cut down. Like, where they go, let them stay there. That's the problem with humanity now. I'm just talking about the type of kid he is. He's a vegan. He doesn't,
Yes.
and my kids are just good kids like that. And so he's trying, I felt bad for a second. And then I looked around and I was like, yeah, but I'm looking at trees. And they gotta go.
Yeah.
But yeah, my son, he doesn't eat anything that is gonna add inflammation in his body.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's on a very strict diet.
Yes. It's hard at first. I think, like, for me personally, like, I love food.
Okay.
So it was like, I was like, what do you mean I can't eat what I want when I want?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
And how does that work?
Right.
Can I take a pill? Like,
Right.
anything.
Take a shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
And, but honestly, when, like, just doing it and then seeing the results and how it's helped me,
Wow.
like, I've learned what all of my triggers are for my body just from journaling and
Okay.
realizing, which is just incredible.
Okay.
And it's just regained my power back from doing that for myself.
So, do you find with that also kind of helped in other areas of your life, work,
100%.
being in actions, etc., etc.?
100%. Just being able to have that peace of mind that I was okay. Now, I'm not going to die from this condition, thank God.
Right.
I'm going to be able to know that I'm going to be able to work and be okay. And that's huge. That was huge for me. And, I just feel like for the first time in my life, I've really been able to actively do this without fear.
You talked about learning to love yourself. So when people make statements, I usually ask them, well, what does that look like? Right? Because if I can make a statement about something, I need to be able, if I can make a statement about a spiritual or an eternal quality, show me what that looks like. So what does learning in your life?
Man, that's a beautiful question. Learning to love myself was one of the most challenging things that I think I've ever had to do. And it started with really changing the way I was talking to myself and changing those negative thoughts. I had this tendency of really just kind of saying really toxic, mean things, but I would say it like a nonchalant kind of joke, and I would just kind of use that as a crutch to just kind of say whatever I was feeling in a mean way about myself.
Like what?
Like, oh yeah, like, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. It's been so long that I've been thinking that those kinds of thoughts.
I got you.
I know, I'm trying to think. If I would read for a role and it was like, the person would have to be I don't know, someone like I'm trying to think, I'm blubbering now.
No.
But someone that's like, for certain types of roles that you have to read for.
Right.
And the breakdown is like, well, you'd have to be super skinny or whatever it is. And I'd be like, well, that's another roll down the tube. Like,
gotcha.
Here we go.
Yeah, real subtle. Yeah, I knew like, that's where you were going with it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was just so silly to be able to do that to myself.
Yeah.
And like if something didn't pan out and it's like, well, that's to be expected.
Right.
And it's like, but you don't realize like the power of your words, the power of the things you say to yourself.
Yep.
You create your own reality.
Yes. Just that subtly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Even if I'm blaming something outside of me for why things didn't work out, I'm still, even though I'm not saying something negative about me, but I've still accepted limitations on my life from external forces. So you said, oh, that opportunity is down the drain for me. Or I could say, I knew they weren't going to give me that contract.
Yeah.
Because they don't do business with people like me. Or they don't do business with people of my color. No, I'm serious.
No, I
like,
know.
just real. No, maybe it's something that you're not doing that you should be doing.
Right.
Even if that is the case, Malik, you don't take that on. Because that's going to block you from an experience from somebody that will do business with you, but you went into it with the energy thinking that they weren't.
Yes.
And so, whether it's me doubting myself, or me doubting myself personally, or me saying that those external things aren't going to work out because, and then even if I place something on them, a deficiency on them, or they don't see my worth, or they just don't know how to do business, whatever it is, no, it's very important to be positive.
Yes.
And that was one of my mother's greatest qualities. My mother passed on, but I think since they say sometimes when your parents pass on, their good qualities transfer to you. And one of the things I didn't have before my mother passed was I was very cynical when it came to people. And I was very fucking judgmental.
Wow.
And I would carve you up, and I would dissect you. I would get so deep that I would like just start pointing out things that I didn't know. Like, yeah, he was probably abused by his father as a child. or probably comes from a dysfunctional home. That's why he acts like, and I would just go on and whatever it was. And only thing I was doing was I was perpetuating negativity in my reality.
Wow.
Every moment that I allow, even if I'm talking about people, like I've cut down I still gossip. We all do.
Yeah.
Right? But I've really cut down the amount of time that I gossip about people, because I'm reliving a past moment about something that I'm reliving a past moment in the now.
Yes.
And now my present is messed up over something they did last week that I don't have any power or control of changing. I'm powerless over them. I can't change people. I can't change how they react or respond to life. Why am I sitting here driving in the car? We've been driving back from Manhattan and we've been talking about them for an hour.
Yeah.
Guess what, Britt? I lost the hour.
That's right. It's true. There really is a power to how much power you give people. You know, and that, when it comes to self-image as an actor, I know that was something that really affected me. Was I really allowed, like for me, I allowed a casting director to really diminish the way I felt about myself. I allowed her comment to me to dictate my own self-worth. And that was, like, I was 19 years old at the time, and
we're very impressionable at that age.
Of course. You know, I didn't have the backbone to really stand up and go, oh no, like that's just your opinion. Like,
and we're seeking validation at that age.
And you know, I really allowed that to hold me back in life, and you know, in turn, you know, you also end up resenting someone for that and holding on to those things and those negativity. And like, you have to learn how to really let go and forgive and move on from something and grow from it. And there's real power to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in forgiveness. Of all of the spiritual qualities, forgiveness is the most powerful. It's just an opinion of mine, but you know, because forgiveness, the reason why to me it's the most powerful, because it's the most freeing.
Yes.
And when I can, so I asked a spiritual mentor of mine, this guy named Rob, man, he passed on, but he was so deep. I said, you know, well, how do I find forgiveness? And he said, by recognizing your own frailties and character defects. That's how you'll find forgiveness. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by? And it wasn't until he passed on. Matter of fact, I was sitting at his funeral, and then I got it. I said, that's what he means. Because if I can see my own mistakes, where I fall short, that would allow me to look at the next person and say, yo, man, we all human.
Yes.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we're all trying our best.
Yes.
At least for the most part, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Some of us are,
some of us
are just
they don't care.
See, now I'm judging. See?
I know.
See? I was doing good. But for the most part, we're all trying to figure out this thing called life.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might hurt Brittney in the process. So, you were talking about, you know, that you learn to love yourself, and you've overcome these obstacles. Now in your life, where are you at right now with your acting life and everything that you're doing, and talk to me about right now.
Well, right now, I
see you got some things.
I
in your
know,
hand, so
I'm always.
Feel free to go ahead.
I'm always with these things.
What is that?
Well, these are my flashcards, just to so that I can also really just kind of look back and remind myself little things in case I go blank, because this is my first podcast interview I've ever done. Okay. So I was like, something.
Wow.
So take this. Yes.
This is the first.
You are my first podcast interview.
People keep telling me this. Not half, but maybe between a quarter and half of the shows I've done, people like, this is my first show.
Yeah.
That's what that's why I'm doing this, man. See this?
It's a beautiful thing.
So then, when you're on ABC Live and you happen to see me outside waving, just go.
You're gonna come inside. That's what you're gonna do.
Just give me the. That's all I want is the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
or you give me the one for the first time, because you just give me the one and I'm cool with that. Yeah. So
Yes.
You keep that with you?
Yes.
You care to share anything?
Oh,
or?
absolutely. I mean, well, we were talking before about the pilot that we filmed.
Right.
And it's called Harlem Coffee Shop.
Right.
And it's something that I'm just so proud of because it is the first pilot I've ever worked on.
Right.
And now it's just so promising right now. The storyline's incredible.
Storyline's incredible.
And, you know, I get to play such a fun role on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that the cast is great. The writers are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
We're really hoping that this pans out so that we can all be working on this and hopefully filming here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're really aiming for.
Right.
You know,
shout out to Paulette Cunningham.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a shout out and all of them.
She's an angel.
Yeah, shout out. She's going to watch this.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
But for the listeners that are hearing this, just to tell you a little bit about the show, because I know I'm allowed to talk about it a little bit.
Right.
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
right. Okay.
So it's called Harlem Coffee Shop.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in Harlem. Spoiler.
Right.
Spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's the main character. He deals with the difficult decision of whether or not he's going to keep his coffee shop up and running, or if he's going to sell it and move away now that his mother's passed away. And you know, it really touches on how gentrification's affected the neighborhood, and the lives of the people that are born and raised in Harlem, the people that are newcomers to Harlem. It follows the storylines of all these lives that have come together in this coffee shop and where everyone's at and the relationships that build. It's such a beautiful story, and I'm really excited for the viewers to come in and get to watch it and watch us grow. It's going to be a really beautiful thing.
It's going to be special.
I think so too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I know, me too.
I can't wait. I
Me
can't
too.
wait. So what else do you have? Do you have anything else coming up besides that? You know, let everybody know how they can find you.
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook.
So, well, I am on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and it is, my handlebar is Brittney, Brittney _ Mulvaney, Mulvaney. And I will, and then I also have just that's really how I mainly keep in touch with everybody today.
Well,
The gram.
Well, I have the gram.
The gram.
I have a set of questions that I always end the show with, and so we're on the island, and you're on the island by yourself.
All right.
Okay, and a genie comes out, and he's granting you one of everything, so you can only pick one.
Okay.
So, all right, your favorite meal. You're only getting one meal, and you can eat this one meal every day. How many times a day? But you don't get a different meal.
This is easy for me.
Okay.
Broccoli rub pasta. It is. I'm an Italian girl, and this was my grandparents used to make this for me, and it's like it's home. It brings me comfort. It brings me joy. I can eat that every day of my life for every meal of my life.
And you look
and
real
be
happy
happy.
explaining
It's
that
real.
too.
I am.
Okay. I can see how much joy it brings you.
I loved it.
Okay.
It's good.
One drink, one beverage.
Oh, a Hal's seltzer water is the best seltzer
I'm about
water.
to go buy one of them. I have to have something cold before I go
Yes.
to bed. I have to drink something cold.
Yes.
7-Eleven's right up the block.
And that's where you get them.
That's right.
That's where you get them.
That's where you get them.
They're the best.
Yeah, they're the best. One song.
Ooh. I would say Tears Dry on Their Own, Amy Winehouse. I love her. I love her. I listen to her album Back to Black every day, and that's the first song I listen to every day. I'm not really sure why, I love her soul. It was just beautiful.
If you can give me one word to describe your experience with the condition that you grew up with, what would that one word be?
One word to describe the condition?
Yeah, your experience.
My experience, emotional, emotional journey. It really was. It was a relentless journey.
Give me one word to describe your acting career so far.
I I would say it's been, oh gosh, my acting journey has been, it's been such,
One word.
oh, one word. Ooh.
Take your time.
I feel like it's been an inspirational ride. Inspirational.
Inspirational?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Challenging. It's probably
Challenging?
more or less.
More?
what I should
Okay,
say.
okay.
Challenging. I've been feel
Inspirationally
inspired.
challenging.
Yes, you're inspired to keep going, but it's very challenging.
Okay. Give me one word to describe Brittney.
Resilient. I'm a fighter. I keep going.
So if I could give you one sentence to if you had to say to somebody who was just like you, and you can only tell them one sentence because you was only going to be there for 20 seconds, and it was somebody just like Brittney, what would you say to her?
You're perfect. You're enough. Don't give up.
And if you was to leave here tonight, and for some reason you didn't make it home or whatever it was, and this was your last night on the planet, right? God forbid. What would you want to be remembered as?
I would hope that I'd be remembered for the kind heart that I really do have, always wanting to give back, always going above and beyond for somebody. I feel like that's what I always focus on doing, is trying to help others. And that's what I would hope that I would be remembered by.
That's powerful. And listen, it's been another great episode, Conversations with Malik, and I'll end the show in the usual fashion, that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.